Thousands of people are fleeing the Sudanese capital, Khartoum, during lulls in fighting between the army and the Rapid Support Forces. A fourth ceasefire that was declared on Wednesday has failed. Many people are taking risks by leaving their homes. Some are heading south towards Gezira State. That's believed to be relatively calm. Others have travelled north from Khartoum to River Nile State, where no violence has been reported. Well, people are trying to escape a sixth day of conflict. Gunfire and explosions were heard in Khartoum, with each side blaming the other for violating the ceasefire. The World Health Organization says more than 300 people have been killed and at least 3,000 wounded. Egypt says 27 of its soldiers captured by the Rapid Support Forces have been handed over to the Egyptian embassy. Al Jazeera's Hassan Razak has more on the stream of people leaving the capital.
This used to be one of the busiest streets in Khartoum. We can now see an exodus of people leaving the north of the city and heading south. If the camera could pan around, you can see people carrying their luggage heading south to neighboring states that are much calmer and safer. Many people here are benefiting from this truce to leave Khartoum. However, many shops remain closed, as you can see. Perhaps the distrust in this truce is the main reason why shops remain shut. There continues to be sporadic fighting in Omdurman, the vicinity of the General Headquarters office and the airport. As you can see, people are trying to leave Khartoum. The humanitarian situation is deteriorating, and there's a lack of health facilities and shortage of food supplies.
Let's go live now to Hiba Morgan in Khartoum. Hiba, people trying to flee the capital, what kind of journey are they running into?
Well, we've spoken to one of the people who left Khartoum on Wednesday and asked them how the journey was to get to Gezira State, which is less than 200 kilometers away from the capital, Khartoum. And she said that it took her a period of 12 hours to get from the capital, Khartoum, to the capital of Gezira State, a trip that normally takes roughly about 3 hours on a normal day, even with traffic on the road. It took her 12 hours to get there. But that was not the only thing she said she faced. There were checkpoints on the road to Medani up until a place called Bagir. That's just the last point between Khartoum State and Medani. She said that all of them were Rapid Support Forces, which questioned them about who they are, asked them for their IDs and where they were going to and the reasons they were leaving. So it's clear that it is not an easy journey because it takes all those hours. But that's not the only challenge that people are facing. She's reported that she's seen looting. Others who we spoke to say that they have been assaulted, that they've seen people getting shot at in their cars as they try to leave. So it is a risk for many people, but that's the risk that they were willing to take because of the situation here on the ground in the capital, Khartoum. Many residential areas say that they're now going into day 6 without any running water, and that the situation is untenable, that they cannot live like this. They don't know how to cook. They don't know how to carry out their basic necessities without water around in the house. Then there's the issue of electricity as well. The lack of electricity is affecting a lot of people, and the lack of access to medical facilities. Many hospitals have shut down or gone out of operation since the fighting started on Saturday. And for many people, these reasons have been enough for them to take the risk to leave the capital and find safety elsewhere.
And a big part, as you said, because the ceasefires are not holding. It's a case of another day, another failed ceasefire.
Yes, people have no longer have hope when it comes to the issues of ceasefires. They say that they're waiting for quiet periods where they feel like they can make it out of their homes and not to stock up on basic necessities, but to leave the capital. There's been intense heavy artillery strikes around the vicinity of the General Command since the early hours of this morning until just up to a few minutes ago. The army released a statement saying that they feel that they have assessed the situation around the vicinity of the army headquarters and that the air airstrikes, or rather the heavy artillery strikes coming from the rapid support forces, have reduced, and so they feel that they're targeting the correct positions of the rapid support forces. But the commander of the rapid support forces spoke to Al Jazeera a short while ago, and he said that they are surrounding the general command. That is the scene of heavy fighting since the very first day of the conflict between the rapid support forces and the army on Saturday. Elsewhere in the country, there is also fighting. In North Darfur, in the city of Al Fashir, there are confrontations ongoing between the rapid support forces and the army, as well as in the town of Al Ubaid, that's in North Darfur, North Kordofan, in the southern part of the country. So it's clear that the fighting is intensifying, not just in the capital, but other parts of the country as well.
All right, we'll leave it there. Thanks so much. Dua Tariq is a Khartoum resident and an activist. She joins us on Zoom from Khartoum. Good to have you with us. How disappointing was it for you that yet another ceasefire has failed?
It was very disappointing, but also at the same time expected. It's kind of like left something in people. Like yesterday, we went out with the neighborhood committee resistance members, and we did a graffiti on "No War" at the same time the ceasefire was declared. But we've been laughing because now people call the bombing and shooting during the ceasefire is the sound of the ceasefire, or the sound of the truce. And we've been texting each other with like, do you hear the sound of the truce? And sometimes it's like really very loud. So it's sad that people start getting used to the shooting and the bombing sounds. But it's not disappointing. We've been disappointed at this for 4 years now, and the actions that were taken by the civilian forces, the political forces, about how to handle this war before it breaks out. So
all right.
this
Dua,
is
when we spoke a couple of days ago, you were, if I recall correctly, you were running low on supplies. I think you've got a pregnant sister at home. Tell us a little bit about what your situation is like now.
Last night I spoke to a few folks from the neighborhood, and we managed to collect some vegetables and just some flour and rice and stuff from the neighborhood, just some vegetable leftovers and some salad, some tomatoes and stuff, just to hold us for like 2 or 3 days for now. We've been hearing that farmers, because I live in East Khartoum, somewhere we have so many farms, but it's not the harvesting season yet, so there is not a lot of vegetables. But the farmers say that they will try to provide, and we're expecting to get some vegetables and fruits within the next 3 days.
But you've got still no electricity, right? So I imagine refrigerating food stuff is still a challenge.
Yeah, so right now people are giving away vegetables they have and sharing with the neighborhood, because there is no fridges, so it's impossible to keep. And then of course people were forced now to go on a vegetarian diet, because you cannot have beef or chicken and without refrigerators. So it's that's the situation right now.
And you mentioned that you went out as an act of protest to participate in a graffiti event, right? That must have been dangerous, though. People are afraid to go out and try and look for food, let alone spray graffiti.
Sometimes resistance and revolution taught us that resistance could be a fuel for us to live, because right now we have nothing to do. We don't have water and food. We don't have nothing to do about it. We don't want to, as revolutionaries, we don't want to just die in our houses without doing anything. The international world and the world and Sudanese also needs to know that this war does not have anything to do with people or the will of people or revolution. And we still want the civilian rule. We're not silenced by the sounds of the shooting and bombing. We're not silenced by the shooting, by the sound of war. We experienced many wars during the past 4 years. Today, actually, the memory of the Ramadan 29, which was in June 3rd, 2019, the sit-in massacre in Khartoum by the military headquarters. Today, it's 4 years since the massacre, and we had to get out, because us who witnessed the massacre needs to go out each year and to let out this trauma. But this year it's even worse because we're dealing with war, so there's nothing to do but resist.
All right, thank you so much for talking to us. Tariq there.